Hello, good evening. Here we are, day 26 of Jlogging. Anyway, okay, so tonight I want to talk a little bit about emotional target. Okay, so one of the things that I'm working on, and I'm just putting this out there, one of the things that I'm working on is, like, if I have an emotion that comes up that I don't want, like say I'm angry, and I feel like I've got to look at my notes, and I feel like the opposite of anger is like laughter, or the opposite of sad is happy. I'm working on knowing, like, or like when I'm frustrated, I'm thinking confident is the opposite of that. Anyway, and fear and fear, the opposite of fear is grateful. It just is. And anyway, I'm thinking of this idea that all the target emotions you want to be feeling 85 to 95% of the time are in the center of a bullseye. And all of the emotions that you don't want to be feeling are on the outer ring of the bullseye. So, and this goes back to being able to honor that I'm allowed to feel whatever I want to feel. One of the things that I did before when I did the Tony Robbins thing, it's not his fault, totally my own doing. One of the things that when I started to have, I forgot to remember that all of those emotions that are off target, they're just signals to you that you need to pay attention to something. So if you're afraid of something, it's a signal that you need to look at it, examine it, decide if your feelings are actually accurate, because maybe they aren't. Maybe they'll just go away because you realize that you're just being ridiculous. Or maybe it's something you need to face, or maybe it's something you need to really work on your thinking to get yourself to a different perspective on it. So I've got this idea that instead of thinking opposites for good emotions, bad emotions, it sounds like a linear thought. And my idea is that actually all the good emotions are in the center of this target, and the bad emotions are around the ring. So that you're just off target. That makes, for me, this is important in my head for my thinking. I'm not wrong for feeling fear or anything. Now, I know nobody should be wrong for feeling anything, but one of the parts of my upbringing was being immediately, without stopping to honor that I was, whatever negative emotion I was feeling, that I immediately had to be a good person, I had to immediately go to what the other person must be feeling, to see it from their perspective, to have empathy immediately. And it's left me with this little short circuit in my path of dealing with emotions. And my mom didn't do it on purpose. She didn't, in other words, she didn't do it, she didn't set out to screw me up or anything like that. In fact, I'm for 90% of what she did serves me so very well. I do not rush to conclusions. No matter what I feel in the moment that, somebody did something to me or whatever, I do not rush to judgment. I don't. And I'm proud of that. So at the same time saying that this was a situation that was created by my mom, I'm not, there's no blame there. It's just, it's just like anything else. We're all working without a net. We just are. So anyway, but this is something in my thinking, I kind of came up with this idea in my thinking where it was either bad emotions or good emotions. And I'm trying to absolutely eliminate that. They're just all emotions. Now, do I want to focus on the emotions that make me feel good? Yes, I do. And they're in the center of the target. The other emotions are just cues for me to notice if I'm on course or off course. That's all, and for me to pay attention to whatever that is. So I can make a conscious decision instead of just being led around by our emotions, which is, you're not in charge of your own life if you're letting your emotions shut things down, So anyway, and one of these things that I'm working on is I don't deal with money well. I don't deal at all with money well. So I'm working on my emotions and the concepts that I have around money. So anyway, that's one of the things. And so I came up with this cool idea, and it's just for me. Y'all can use it if you want to. But anyway, I just came up with that cool idea today. So yay for me. Anyway, we dealt a lot with health things today, and I realized I had some really big aha moments, and I don't want to go into too much detail, but one of the things, and this is why I decided I got to get on this emotional thing. One of the things was that when I got diagnosed with MS and everything, I was doing everything that the Tony Robbins program, suggested and convinced me that I needed to be doing. And I still believe in it. The thing that started to happen, though, as soon as I got that diagnosis, was some super negative emotions. Because... And it's completely understandable. When you have MS, when something is going wrong, like when your foot isn't working, one of the things of my first MS symptoms was I couldn't pick up my left leg. So what I had to do was I had to put my hand under my leg, my left hand under my leg, and I had to pick it up to put it in the car. And I exercised it back to health. But when you're not in control of your body, it freaks you out. Trust me, it freaks you out. And this sense of certainty that I had about what Tony, I don't know how to say it. What Tony adheres to excuse me, I know exactly. Tony's philosophy of health. I agreed with it, but all of these really super negative emotions came in, and it was panic time. And I did do some things. I knew that I was absolutely terrified of MS. So I decided that the opposite of fear is grateful. And at that moment, and it might sound self-serving or whatever, but I decided if God gave me MS to deal with in my life, that He must think I'm pretty special. He must think that I can handle it. you know, that whole idea that God never puts anything on your plate that you can't handle. And there will be a lot of people, if you have MS and you listen to this, please don't misunderstand. I was doing it just to relieve the fear. You know, well, not just to. I mean, I really believe this. So anyway, I just, it's something that I did to immediately alleviate the fear. But as time went on and I got away from the Life Mastery, because I had been to Life Mastery in the January, I actually had my first MS attack on the way home from Life Mastery, which has to do with not figuring out what I needed to do for my body, because I had just lost about 40, 50 pounds, something like that, from like mid-November to January. So I had dropped weight. People were like, whoa, you lost weight, what the hell, you know? And I did it in a healthy way. I didn't starve myself. I promise I didn't starve myself. And a lot of people thought that the MS was because I had, you know, done something to, you know, my immune system was telling me something, but it wasn't. A lot of people thought I got the MS because I starved myself to skinny, and that wasn't it. I actually wasn't trying to get skinny. I was trying to get healthy. And it was the first time that I had a major weight loss that actually worked, because I was trying to have health and energy. I wasn't trying to be a size 6. I wound up a size 6. But anyway, so that's just part of that. And I've traipsed way off course, but I just wanted to share that exciting news about the target emotion thing, and just thinking about and just deciding to be gentle with myself. Because what happened when I was off target on emotions, I got this idea that I was not guiding my brain the way I needed to guide my brain, and I started to get really, I have to just, if I just buckle down on myself and make myself think right, well, like that could work. It can't. So anyway, I'm figuring it out. That's what you get when, you know, and this is it, you know, I'm very rules oriented, very, 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 very rules oriented when I am in stress. It's where I go back to when I'm in stress. It just is. So, it got very yes or no, black and white, instead of thinking a little bit more outside the box, which is actually the approach that I needed more. There is also some people, and I think people get MS for all sorts of different reasons, but there are some people that think it's about Candida. I personally do not think it's about Candida at all. When I had my first attack, I guarantee that I didn't have a Candida problem at that point. Well, I know it wasn't Candida for me. It may very well be true for other people, but it was not for me. I do think it has major things to do with omega-3 fatty acids. I absolutely think that for me was a source. So I think I wasn't supplementing that enough in my diet. I am trying to fix that in my diet overall. So anyway, I'll talk to you later. That's about it. And okay, so target emotions, and that's it. I told you how I got to the place where I got grateful for my MS. Oh, and the biggest thing that I didn't share with you, but I will really quick, is that I decided to make MS, because those two letters just seemed so... So I decided to make MS mean more spectacular, and linked that to this idea of if God thought I was good enough to deal with the MS, that I'm pretty spectacular, and that by the end of MS, I will be more spectacular. So that is how I changed the emotional meaning of that for myself, you know, and everybody has to do that for themselves, but that's the way I did it for me. So anyway, okay, y'all have a good night. This has gone way farther than I wanted to, but that's the way it is. Okay, I love you guys. You have a good night.